Hello and welcome back to Randy Knows Bald. This week we got a real good one. We have Bears versus the Packers. This game will be at Lambeau Field in the 325 game slot, America's Game of the Week. What a fantastic game we have here. This NFL season, we haven't been blessed with too many great games, I would say. A couple that stick out to me would be Seahawks and Rams. That first matchup was a very solid game, but it didn't live up to the expectations that I had. And then we got Bears and Eagles on Black Friday, and once again, it did not live up to my expectations. Of course, the Bears dominated, and I'm always going to love that, but definitely would have liked to seen a closer, more competitive game. But here is some redemption. We have Bears versus Packers. Taking a look at the NFC playoff picture here. Obviously, the Bears sitting in first. They're atop the entire division at 9-3. Of course, the Rams, Eagles, Buccaneers all sitting atop their division, so they get the 1 through 4 seeds. And then we have Seattle and Green Bay in the 6th slot. But if you look at all these teams, it's very tight, very close. I mean, even San Francisco, the 7 seed, has the same amount of wins as the Bears in the 1st seed. So the NFC, extremely tight right now, and it's going to be that way for the rest of the season. Focusing back on Bears-Packers now, this game is for the top of the division. If the Packers can win this one, then they will take that top spot in the NFC North. Obviously, their records, they're very close, only separated by a half a game. And this game could decide the top seed in the NFC North, the division winner at the time of this game. I don't think that this game would decide the top seed in the NFC Conference, but I'm not going to rule that out either. We just saw the Rams lose to the Panthers. The Eagles are in a slump. Buccaneers have not looked like the same team. So if the Packers were to pull this one off, they could leap all the way into the 1 spot in the NFC. Looking at the Bears' remaining schedule here, of course, at the Packers this week. Then the Browns come into town. You'll get the Packers at Soldier a couple weeks from now. Week 17, you're going over to the 49ers, and then you got the Lions. Now, here's a reason why I don't think this game is as big for the Bears as it is for the Packers. With the Bears a half game ahead right now, and still being able to play them twice in the next 3 weeks, the Bears could afford to drop this game. Granted, that would mean that they would have to win the next matchup versus the Packers, but you would be at home, and the game you would be coming off of would be another home game versus a lesser opponent in the Cleveland Browns. Either way, the Bears have a chance here to control their destiny. If they were to win out, they would hold on to that number 1 seed in the NFC, and of course, the number 1 spot in the NFC North. Heading on over to the Packers' remaining schedule, this is why I believe this matchup between the Bears and Packers in Week 14 is a little bit more important for the Pack here. You have the Broncos next week, where you have to travel to Denver. This is going to be a rough game. Cross-country flight. Denver's going to want to beat you up. Tough defense. The Packers will have to play their A game, regardless. They then have to fly back and play the Bears in Chicago. Now, at the time, this could be another must-win game for the Packers. If they were to lose to Chicago in Week 14, lose to the Broncos in Week 15, Week 16 versus the Chicago Bears could very well be a must-win for these Green Bay Packers. And the schedule does not ease up from there. You have Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens at home. You get a little bit of a break there, but you still have to go to Minneapolis and take on the Minnesota Vikings. The bottom line is, I believe the Packers need this game a bit more than the Bears. Based on what their schedule looks like for these last 5 games, just division implications, conference implications, the Packers are going to want this one a bit more. So now I have a couple battles that I'm going to be looking at between the Bears and Packers that would probably determine who's going to win this game. If you could come out on top in both of these aspects of the game, I believe that team will win. First, let's look at the quarterbacks. Caleb Williams versus Jordan Love. In a vacuum, I think everyone would take Jordan Love, but Caleb Williams has been good this year. The stats don't look terrific. 58.1% completion, 2,722 yards on the year, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, great ratio, and a rating of 88.2. Compare that to Love. Let's just say we know who looks like the better quarterback, sitting at 67% completion, 2,794 yards, 19 touchdowns, 3 picks, and a 104.3 rating. This is going to be a huge factor in this game. Which quarterback can not only make more plays than the other, but not give the game away? Caleb Williams has been really good in that regard. His interceptions are low. He's taken less sacks. He's just not losing games for the Bears like he did last year. And now you look at Jordan Love. Yes, he has less interceptions, but when it comes to Jordan Love, those interceptions typically come at really, really poor times in the game. So he has to limit those crazy back-footed throws late in the game that could cost the Packers a win here. Another battle I'm going to look at is the Bears' run game versus the Packers' run defense. The Bears right now are sitting at 4.9 yards a carry, 153.8 yards a game, and this has been the best rushing attack in the NFL since the bye week. Now, the Bears had that early bye in week 5, so they have had some time to put this show on display for the NFL. This is not a couple week stretch here where, sure, DeAndre Swift gets hot and bursts a couple for 50, 60 yards. No, this has been consistent. This has been dominant. And this has been going on for, do a little quick math here, 10 weeks? 9 weeks? That's not a small sample size. This Bears rushing attack is the real deal. So the Packers are going to have to shut that down. And the Packers, who have been the 8th best rushing defense in the league, they're going to have to play up to caliber here against this Chicago Bears rushing room. The Packers defense has been holding opponents to 3.9 yards a carry and 98.3 yards a game, so overall very good numbers. Don't know how much of a role Micah Parsons does play in that stat there, but this has still been an elite run-stopping defense. Yes, they lost Kenny Clark in the offseason, but they've been doing a good job to supplement for his loss. And, of course, when you get Micah Parsons, that's going to help. So, like I said, whoever's going to win the QB battle and the trenches in regards to the Bears' run game and the Packers' run defense, I think they'll take this game home. If it's a split, let's say Love outduels Caleb, but the Bears have that run game, this could be up in the air. Who knows what will happen? I would like to predict what I think will happen, though, and I am predicting Bears make a huge special teams play. The Packers' special team units have not been fantastic. Actually, they've been at the bottom of the league, which is surprising because I really like Rich Bisaccia as a coach, a special teams coordinator, but they just have not been playing up to snuff. We know that special teams is the Packers' curse, especially in big games. So I believe the Bears are going to make a big special teams play this Sunday. The last time these two teams faced each other, we saw a Josh Blackwell punt return touchdown. And I think there might be some trickery or just an explosive play happen on the third phase of the game for the Bears, so watch out for that to happen. Now, in regards to some players out, both teams are suffering from a decent amount of injuries. Looking at the Packers, I think Quay Walker and Jaden Reed are going to play, which will be two huge boosts that they've needed, well, not needed back, but they could use back to boost that defense and their receiving room a little bit more. Unfortunately, the Packers are not going to have Devontae Wyatt, their star defensive tackle, in the middle with them. And I feel like this is a bigger loss than a lot of people think it is. Wyatt opens up Gary, opens up Parsons to go and make plays. So you lose that part of your defense, I feel like the rest of it will crumble just a little bit, but they have a very stout defensive tackle room, so I don't think that they will be in too much trouble. Looking at the Bears, as of Thursday, Rome Odunze has not practiced this week, neither has Tyreek Stevenson. Of course, they've been without TJ Edwards, but I think he will return for this game. Otherwise, I believe both teams are getting healthy at the right time. And that's setting us up for some fantastic football, which is desperately needed at this time. Will it be the game of the year? Will it decide the NFC 1 seed? Will it decide the NFC North division winner? I'm not quite sure. But what I do know is that this game is going to be a huge one. As of right now, the Packers are favored by 6.5 points with an over-under of 44.5. Vegas is basically predicting 26-19 Packers. And I just disagree with that. I think both of these teams are going to be able to put up some points. I know the Packers' defense has been very good throughout this year, but so is the Bears' offense under Ben Johnson. So I would love to hammer the over on that 44.5. In regards to my game prediction, I will take the Bears, Chicago, 30-28 in Lambeau. Caleb Williams remains undefeated in his rival's stadium. Thanks for tuning in. If you want more football, NFL, sports content, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be seeing you very, very shortly